Right. So we don't want to kill too much time from the question and answer session, which I suspect where you can actually find out what you came here to listen as opposed to our drivel. But one of the other wrinkles of PayPal, and sort of very dear to my heart, and I think in a way, one way to explain the business, what happened in 2000 is we realized that a very major part of our burn was due to fraud. And we started a company being extremely naive and about fraud specifically, which in a way made us, in a way, resilient to all these problems. Somebody told us, you're going to be drowned in chargebacks. You're going to die under this massive pressure of all these people who are just going to be out there to take your money. And Peter and I were going, what's a chargeback? What's a chargeback? We never heard of this. Okay, well, we don't have to worry about stuff we don't know. So we just went right along. And 6 months into it, we still had no chargebacks. We figured people are actually fundamentally good. It's all right. No one's going to charge money back. Of course, the typical credit card adage is that first chargeback usually shows up about 6.5 months into it because of the credit card statement length and some of the regulations that the credit card industry imposes on consumers. Anyway, we were bleeding something like 12 million a month in fraud in June 2000. And that's in addition to things like referral bonuses and running the company and
we did have to pay people some salaries too.
Yeah, salaries were anyway. So the burn rate was phenomenal, and largely due to fraud. At that time, it was became clear that we either figure out how to beat the fraudsters or the fraudsters will take us under. And the company more or less refocused itself as a research entity towards figuring out innovative technological ways of destroying fraud on the internet. And that alone could be a subject of an entire class or a series of classes, so I'll completely skip on all the cool technology we've developed. Some of you might have seen stuff in news, words like Igor, Ilya, all these tools that we've built. They're as cool as they sound, and I could never tell you about them because they're very secret and they're still in use, but maybe if you want to hang out afterwards, I could tell you a little bit. But they're really cool, and we did really figure out how to kill fraud. The highest fraud rate we've ever seen as a percentage of the total volume was well above 1%. And I don't know exactly which figure I'm allowed to spill because I think at one point we were so high, Visa actually had the right to shut us down from processing credit card payments. At a certain point, once your fraud
the presumption was that there was so much fraud that we were just ripping people off.
Yeah. And we brought it down by the end of 2000 to about 55 basis points, which is 0.55%. For comparison, average losses online at the time were averaging about 1%. Mid-2001, we were at about 0.49. At the end of 2001, we were at about 0.37, which was at the time better, and even now, better than anyone else in the industry had ever seen. Today, the fraud rate at PayPal runs at about 0.27, last I checked, which you can see it's still decreasing. The work to do that was really fundamental and critical and very, very technologically difficult, which leads up to the following summary, or the following way I see PayPal. PayPal is actually a more or less commodity business. It sounds very cool and innovative, emailing money around, moving money in the internet, but it's really not very difficult. The credit card interfaces have existed for 20 years. The AFT system existed since the 70s, which is the way you move money into bank accounts. It's really not that tough. All we did is put a very pretty web front end on it and let people use their email address instead of their account number. That's really all there is to the PayPal on the surface. The submerged part of PayPal is this massive, very, very numerically driven risk management system, which allows us to instantaneously tell when you're moving money to someone else with a very high degree of certainty whether the money you're moving is yours or you got it illegally, and we might be on the hook later on to help the authorities investigate or retrieve the money, et cetera, et cetera. So the underlying business model of PayPal is actually that of a security company, a risk management company that provides an extremely important yet commodity business on top. And the toll bridge model, which PayPal has turned to in the August of 2000, namely every time somebody sends you a little bit of money, we just take a slight bit off the top, is really not very novel either. It's how Western Union works. That's how a lot of transactional processors work all around the world. But this ability to make the cost very, very low, because we can almost always certainly tell that the losses are going to be, that we can always underwrite the loss. We can always tell when the funds are being stolen, stop them, investigate them, and on occasion put the guilty party in front of the law enforcement officers is very valuable. And that's why we were able to go public at a very healthy valuation. We launched at, we priced at 13, we closed at 20, and 6 months later we sold the company at $1.5 billion to eBay. Since then, the market cap of eBay combined with PayPal has only grown, and I don't know, you'd know exactly what it is today.
It'll be worth about $47, $48 a share from the $13 IPO price. Yeah. Actually, one other anecdote I will tell before opening it to questions and answers is, one way I described the fraud was that we had a perverse symbiotic relationship with these Russian mobsters who were the primary culprits, and basically we were in a race to develop new anti-fraud techniques, and they were in a race to develop new ways to steal money. But the byproduct of it was that all our competitors got wiped out, because as the Russian mobsters got better and better, they got better and better at destroying all of our competitors. And so by the fall of 2000, when we started charging people, we found that the pricing was completely inelastic. As we increased prices, none of our customers could leave. People, there were people who said, we refused to pay, and they left, and then they turned out there was no other place they could get paid online, and so they came back. And so basically, the financial model part of the business, it was a lot of tricky dials, but fundamentally, it turned out we could just raise and raise the price without any customer attrition, which is why the technology piece really had a lot of value. And it was incredible pricing and elasticity.